Let's get it.
All right, guys, you guys ready? Is that
Yeah.
fine? You think that's
Ready.
good? All right, everybody's like good? All right, guys, here we go. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Mid-Level Show. This is where we get the people that are in our offices treating the patients coming in, and we talk about this week's Performance Weekly. We talk about the doctor's note, the Dictations podcast. We're looking to get more perspectives, and Dr. Rogers put out a great doctor's note this week on vitamins, so I cannot wait to get the perspectives of our mid-levels today. But before I get into that, I just got to have a quick announcement. In our Tri-Cities offices, we are hiring. So any of the listeners out there, if you are in our community and know of an MA or are an MA, please email me at ben@performancemedicine.net. We are growing rapidly up there, and we're in need of medical assistance, and we're going to try to keep this as close-knit as possible. That's how we've always done it, and that's how we hope to always do it. So email ben@performancemedicine.net if that is something that you are interested in or know somebody who is an MA that would be interested in doing cool work that we do inside of our offices at Performance Medicine. All right, guys, welcome to the show. How's everybody doing? Kara, what's going on?
Doing good here in Knoxville. How are you guys?
Andy, you good?
Oh, Ben, I couldn't be better, as if we were in the same house at the same time. I feel like there might be an echo coming from downstairs. I'm going
to have to keep my voice down because for the listeners out there, Andy and I are in the same house right now, and he's upstairs. I'm downstairs. I don't know if Amber or Fran knows, but we have new floors in Knoxville, and I want to ask Kara, what's been the have the patients liked it? Well, has it been cool?
They have, and the floors look great.
Okay, there's nothing.
Looks great, and it's a big improvement. So
good. Well, you guys played a big part in making that happen. So make sure you thank April and Roseanne for me. We're excited to get that project done. So guys, back to the doctor's note. This was a really interesting one. It was on vitamins, and I think let's start with. What vitamins are you guys taking? All the ones that were on his list. I believe it was vitamin D, vitamin C, omega-3s, and zinc.
Zinc.
Is that it?
Magnesium. Multivitamin.
Okay, Kara, why don't you get us started? What did you take from this note? What's your take on Dr. Rogers' top vitamin picks?
I thought it was very good. I know Dr. Rogers takes a lot more vitamins than this, but this is a good place to start for somebody that is looking to be healthier, feel better. And these are his top picks. He talks about them regularly in the office with patients. And so I think it's they're all very good. So he made a good point about anybody over the age of 40 to be taking the vitamin D with K, because it helps the vitamin D in the bones and not in the vessels. So I think that's very good. He also gives some ranges, so you can kind of judge. He says you want it to be your vitamin D level to be between 60 and 80. A lot of times what we see in the clinic, the average person's about 36. So even though we're outside, we're in sunlight, we don't synthesize it. There's a man, he's 70, lives in Florida, and his vitamin D is 21. So it has to do a lot with age. And sometimes we're, wearing sunscreen, not outside as often. And we're just not synthesizing the vitamin D. That's a big one.
Yeah, vitamin D is something that we've all heard Dr. Rogers talk so much about. And Amber, what's your take? I know you guys go through this with patients every single day in the clinic. What did you take from the note and the top vitamins that Dr. Rogers mentioned?
Well, it is one of the most common, especially right now. I'm not sure if it's because of the coronavirus, but people want to know what vitamins they need to be taking and how much of each vitamin they need to be taking. So, was this note was very helpful not only for me but for other patients to. I sent it to different people who've asked me about regimens and the quantity, but also the quality of the vitamins you're taking is important. And I really took that to heart when I started working at performance medicine. And I've never been a faithful vitamin person. I'm health. Well, when I started at performance medicine, I was in my 20s. I mean, who needs vitamins? And then you're always encouraged when you're pregnant to take prenatal vitamins. And so I would choke them down or just do a gummy of some kind. But I'm very faithful now with my vitamin D, vitamin C, and probiotic, which I'm not sure if we mentioned. And the quality of the vitamins that you're taking, especially for me, the probiotic made a humongous difference with some different GI issues that I had. I mean, life changing. And so he mentioned Gluten Shield. Theralac is the one that I've taken just because it's been around a little bit longer, and I was on it when Gluten Shield came out, or when we started selling it. So those are my big takeaways: was the quantity and the quality of the vitamins you're taking.
Is Gluten Shield the one that you're mentioning as far as being the life-changing one?
Actually, I take Theralac,
okay.
But Gluten Shield is a probiotic and a prebiotic. So I've thought about changing to it, but I've had such good success with Theralac, I've just stayed on it.
Yeah, the probiotic thing is really interesting, and I haven't tried Gluten Shield, but man, he talks a lot about it. Andy, why don't you follow up with what Amber was saying, and what vitamins are you taking, and what did you take from this note?
Yes, actually, what you mentioned, Amber, about quality is really important because a lot of patients will come in and say, "Oh, oh yeah, I'll just grab them from Walmart. I'll just grab them from Walgreens." And I always caution them to tell that's kind of where vitamins can get a bad a bad connotation of, well, these didn't do anything for me. This is crap. Well, the vitamin you're taking actually might be crap. Got to do is you got to test and see where those levels come up to. That's why we use life extension, because it's verified by a third party of that what's actually in the supplement is actually there, and we see it on a lab value. Whenever you're looking at labs with whatever provider you work with, see where your lab values are, see what deficits you have, and what goals you should be feeling from an increase. So the thing about vitamins that I'd love to tell patients and listeners and viewers right now is, what should I be feeling? Oh, I don't feel any different from being on vitamin D. I don't feel any different from being on vitamin C. The question to ask is, have you been sick recently? Has it kept you from illness? And most often the answer is yes. We have a lot of patients that do vitamin C infusions with us who have not gotten sick this entire time, and they are high risk. So that is what, always know with what you're taking, what is the outcome of what I'm supposed to be doing. An important note is that you may feel brighter from vitamin D. It does help out with mood, with seasonal affective disorder, with depression. But two, you may not feel as different from taking that vitamin C. Probiotics, like Amber, you're saying, it's life changing for you. You're going to have symptom relief from taking those things. If any vitamin that he talked about in this, it's for me, it is vitamin D. If I had a best friend, it would be vitamin D. They've linked vitamin D deficiency to multiple sclerosis, to type 1 diabetes, which I have. And we are almost all chronically vitamin D deficient. We're not getting it like we used to get from the sun. Our world and our environment has changed. Am I okay to keep talking?
No,
This is a lot.
no, you're great, and I want you to keep.
Box right now, I'd be standing up.
No, actually, for the listeners out there, Andy, why don't you tell everybody what your vitamin D regimen is, because it's extreme.
Do a lot of vitamin D. This is probably so. I do a vitamin D injection once a week. It's 50,000 IUs of vitamin D3. It's quite a bit, and it's going right into the system, so it's not bypassing through the GI tract. It does open you up a little bit more to be susceptible to kidney stones. From what studies have says, knock on friggin' wood, that hasn't happened. But I like using vitamin D injections to actually get you out of a rut. If you are about to travel on a plane, if you're coming back from areas where infection may be, if a high COVID area, a red zone for COVID, take a couple weeks of vitamin D injections and really boost it. Mine levels have gotten up into the 80s and 90s, but then again, I am technically immune deficient from having type 1 diabetes. I'd rather my vitamin D run that high. And what he mentions in the note is that there's very few cases of vitamin D toxicity. And what he explained to me when I first started, Dr. Rogers, by the way, what he explained to me was that there's been a few cases where babies were getting a dropper full of vitamin D and not a drop of vitamin D, and that's where the toxicity came. So it's usually for very susceptible populations with incredibly higher doses of vitamin D where you see toxicity. So don't be scared of it. I've seen a lot of doses out there in drugstores carried at 2,000 IUs, and I think baseline for anybody is 5,000 IUs a day, if not 5 to 10.
Yeah, it's a really good rundown on vitamin D there, Andy. And Fran, I want to hear your thoughts. First, what vitamins are you taking? You're a
I
big.
take even more than Dr. Rogers.
Oh gosh.
I have my whole morning thing of pills and then my nighttime thing of pills. I take C. I take vitamin D3 with K. I take iodine. I take magnesium. I take L-tryptophan at night to sleep. I take magnesium L-threonate. And because I do take so many supplements, I do testing. And we have a great test at Performance Medicine, the SpectraCell, and it will let you know your vitamin levels so you can actually see if what you're doing is helping. And it also shows you where you lack, where you don't have enough of certain things. Like when I did the SpectraCell, I found out that I was deficient in selenium, and it wasn't something I was taking. Now I take 200 of selenium every day because I didn't want to eat Brazil nuts, which, they have high levels of selenium. You could eat those, but I don't like them. So I decided I would just supplement. But we have lots of ways to look at your levels. I think testing is important. You want to know where your vitamin D level is, because if it is below 50 or 60, your immune system is suffering, and you want to keep your immune system in optimal condition for every reason in the world. Not just COVID.
Now, Fran, when you say you want to watch your levels, are you saying that because you're wanting to make sure that you're actually absorbing the vitamin?
Absolutely, or that you're taking a quality product, because Life Extension are quality products, but there are a number of quality vitamin companies out there where the vitamins have been studied, and a lot of people have a favorite, something they've been using for years, and agrees with them. The different fish oils, there's different problems with those. Dr. Rogers mentioned the whole freezing. Yep. If you get the repeat, but a lot of people have found a supplement, and it'd be interesting to know, is your supplementation working? Because vitamins can be expensive. And if you test, you can kind of find out, am I throwing my money away, or am I actually getting to some decent levels?
Yeah, I found that really the interesting part to me was how he started off by saying that, 25 years ago, he would have told anybody that was taking a bunch of vitamins that they were wasting their time and money. And I know my grandparents took a lot of vitamins, and they're some of the healthiest people I know in their mid 80s now. And he often refers to them. And Andy, you'll know what I'm talking about with Grandma Mary and Papa Tom. They've always been big vitamin takers.
And I think that's important too. Look at the people who are taking vitamins, look at the people who are on hormones, and then look at the people who are not taking vitamins and not on hormones. You're going to you'll physically see a difference. And most often those patients are living longer and having a longer health span. Fran, I wanted to make a note. You said iodine, and I actually had a patient this morning with thyroid dysfunction, hypothyroid, was taking levothyroxine, which is T4, an inactive thyroid hormone, in addition to an active T3 leothyronine. He started taking iodine just to...
He got off his thyroid?
And he's coming down on his T3. He's like, I had an iodine deficiency and didn't realize it. He felt a ton better, and he's coming down. So a lot of those little vitamins and supplements, and I've seen too with some of the patients you worked with too, Fran, that selenium, iodine, there's a lot of those little minerals and supplements that can help with your hormone levels where you don't have to be.
Absolutely.
promised. Are those the two right ones? Is it selenium and iodine you're talking about?
They're the two that I take for my thyroid.
So you can come off, I mean, like you can come off some of these medicines that you may not need by taking some supplements that we're probably not getting from our diet, but a little bit of iodine to me that was pretty cool. It helps convert inactive thyroid to active thyroid. You don't need that thyroid medicine anymore.
At least
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to try that where a patient who, whether it's sleep or thyroid or, different, wouldn't you rather try a natural vitamin instead of a prescribed sleep medication or, or I mean, not that you may still need that, but it just to help offset, I think that's a great thing to do.
I think that's really true. And I'm learning that vitamins can make the other things work better. And I know that you guys recommend certain vitamins for people on hormones. And he mentions, zinc in this case, helping men with their testosterone levels. Do you guys want to jump in on that? Is there anything that really jumps out in terms of vitamins that help the other stuff that we do or that a patient might do, like hormone therapy?
Big one. You picked it out. If you look at I have a lot of guys come in and they do a men's health vitamin. It'll say men's health vitamin from GNC. And we just take it and look at the ingredients together. There's black pepper. Black pepper is actually good for testosterone. Saw palmetto is good for your prostate health and decreasing the size. Most often you'll look at anything men's, they're going to have zinc in it. But I get a lot of questions too. Well, if it's in a multi, is it fine? Can I just use that? Zinc, I would try to get up to 50 milligrams, and most multivitamins don't have that. But I don't know. I think it's fun, Fran. I love the SpectraCell. I mean, why not? Why not try using naturals? That was one that stuck out to me. Very important.
Is the SpectraCell, is that something you want to do like yearly, or or do you need longer, or is it like an every 6 month thing?
No, I would say yearly. It costs a bit of money.
Yeah.
Can't really remember, maybe in the $200 to $300 range.
Yeah.
But when you consider the cost of supplementation, it's not that bad. But what I really like is it gives you all the parameters for your immune function. And so I tested myself and my son just for fun, and it was just like, oh my gosh, my son has horrible immune function. He's in his 20s.
Can you tell people what you mean by that? By immune function? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you
the SpectraCell gave you, they grow this stuff over like a 3-week period, and they let you really know the levels of everything and then how that affects your immune system. And they just had all these different graphs to show you where your level was and how it compared to people your age and people who were younger. And it gave you your number, because it was looking at everything, your omega levels, all your different vitamins, minerals. It's a really comprehensive test. It takes quite a while to get back though, because of the way they do it. So it's about 3 or 4 weeks that you have to wait. But it just gives you these red flags. Like for my son, it's like, okay, you're in your 20s, you're going to be fine. But seriously, you could see that your diet is terrible.
Yeah.
Because you live at fast food restaurants,
He has really great teeth, right? Is he the one with the...
He has perfect teeth, even though he loves fast food.
I remember him making an appearance. He does have perfect teeth. That was so annoying.
And you must be taking vitamins for those golden, well, not golden, but the very lustrous locks of hair that you're having up there. Look at that head of hair. I'm telling you, I've kind of got the curls and the waves from the Rogers. I don't know where your beautiful straight hair came from.
What is that? What is it, guys? There is a something we sell in the office for hair that, gosh, Kelly loves. Or Kara, I think you're a huge fan of it too. What
I am.
What is that in the office?
It's the autogeny.
The autogeny C. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. No, Andy, I don't take this as all natural.
Oh, and then there's also this hair, skin, and nails. I just found this today up front. Collagen plus formula.
Now, Carol, out of curiosity, would you prescribe something like that for a thyroid patient? Because, symptoms of low thyroid would be, the thinning hair, something with your nails as well. Isn't that right, guys?
Brittle nails.
Brittle
They can be
nails.
brittle and cracking.
So maybe it could
A
help
lot
for
of
the.
the times, if you correct the problem, it will correct itself. Usually, the only supplement that I'll put with it is our adrenal support that we have with Life Sciences. So.
Interesting. Well, guys, I think we need Andy. Actually, you look like you're about to make a grand statement. Do you have a grand statement?
It was pretty grand, Ben, but if you need to cut it off, it's fine.
We're gonna make the time. Why don't you go ahead and bless us?
Bless us with this nugget of information. I did this program called Up with People a long time ago. If you know this program, it was very popular in the 70s, still going today. But I had a friend from Nepal, and I took vitamins for Rogers. We all take vitamins. She's like, "Why are you taking vitamins?" I'm like, "Well, it's good for A, B, and C." And she said, it's a smart point. She said, "Why wouldn't you get those from the foods that you eat?"
Good point.
Huh. I was like, well, the American diet's not that great. A, it could be better. But most often, too, I find that the argument is that our food is grown on an earth that was not what it once was centuries ago. So even the nutrients that you're finding, I went to an integrative health conference almost a year ago, and we discussed this with a particular compound, nitrous oxide, which is good for opening the patency of the arteries. So a lot of men with nitrous oxide will have better erections. More L-arginine nitrous oxide is produced for open arteries. So it's good for you. Spinach is a natural way to get it, but there's not you can't get enough from the foods that you eat to support the immune system that you could have. So that's why I do think you can get stuff from foods. And Fran, just what you were saying too with your son, eating better is definitely going to help, but supplementing on top of that, because of the culture we're in and where our earth is now, I don't think the products are nearly as good. Eating organic, I think, is helpful, but I think it's important to know that it's like, well, I can just get it from the things that I eat. I'll eat better. Most often, we still need to supplement, even with eating better.
I think that's exactly right. And one other thing that he mentions that I honestly haven't paid much attention to is taking some of these supplements with food versus without food. I've been taking vitamin C with food with D and zinc. And apparently, water-soluble vitamins you need to be taking on an empty stomach. So, you can't get too specific with this stuff. Like in order to get the best results, you have to operate on these best practices, which I think is kind of what the note was about. So, any last words of wisdom here, guys? I know we're running short on time, but if you guys are good to go, I'm great to go. We good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
We're good.
Well, guys, I tell you what, I really appreciate this time. This is some of my favorite half hours of the week. And Andy, I'm looking forward to get to hanging with you here in a minute. Carol, I'll surely see you tomorrow. And Amber and Fran, I've got to see you guys soon. We've got to get an in-person meeting here shortly. So I miss both of you.
He's so sweet.
Well, Todd too. He's a future.
There he is. Well, thank you guys so much. Thanks for the time. And to all the listeners out there, thank you for joining us every single week for the Mid-Level Show. That means so much to us. And as a quick reminder, if you have not subscribed to Performance Weekly is the weekly email we send out every Monday that has all of our shows and all of our best content in it, as well as some spotlight episodes and some extra stuff that could be cool if you come into the office soon thereafter. So anyways, thank you guys. We'll see everybody soon.